At 5, Fox 46 is the first television station allowed to tour the massive Colonial Pipeline gas spill in Huntersville with cameras. It's the first close-up look at the area where the leak happened. Colonial Pipeline gave Fox 46 a look at what's being done at the site now as the cleanup continues. And we have team coverage, starting with Fox 46's Derek Dellinger in Huntersville, and he's been covering this story for months now and shows us what he saw while on tour of this spill site today. Derek?
Where things stand right now is a bit of a mixed bag. There's a milestone and a degree of uncertainty. Colonial says they have now recovered more than 1 million gallons of gas that seeped out under the ground here, but they still are uncertain as to how much they have left to go.
The release point was right over here. You're pretty much in the vicinity.
This is a look at the very area where, around 8.5 months ago, 2 teens discovered gas coming up from the ground. This area has been dug up, pipe cut out, dirt put back in, and grass reseeded. But what's happening here is nowhere near done.
Monitoring wells are just giving us access to data and information of what's going on below ground. The recovery wells give us access and ability to actually recover the product.
And what's happening here is largely underground. Colonial Pipeline gave Fox 46 a tour of the site, showing us the work that has been done and is still continuing. It's work that has admittedly bugged people living nearby. We spoke with Shannon and Tim Ward, who live near the pipeline, about what they still see.
We sit out here, we listen to the birds and the squirrels, and then we hear the chugging.
And how they still feel.
I believe that Colonial is building more billionaires than it is good pipelines.
Colonial, for its part, says they are revising numbers and findings as they get them at the location of the spill. They know it's more than 1.2 million gallons that leaked out, but how much is still being figured out.
It's not as simple as you pick up a box in one location and you deliver a box in another. There's product coming into the line, going out of the line at multiple points across, up and down our system.
Earlier this week, Colonial sent a revised site assessment to the state addressing issues the state says they want it fixed. That's a 1,000-page document. North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality says they have received the document and that it is still under review, and that's why they have not made it publicly available yet. In Huntersville, Derek Dellinger, Fox 46.
And Fox 46's chief legal correspondent, Seema Iyer, was also part of that tour today. Seema, any new insight into whether legal action has been taken against Colonial?
Colonial reps made it clear that they're aware of this budding list of plaintiffs, but they say no lawsuit has been filed, and that is our information as well. Brian, we have spoken to the lawyers involved in the lawsuit, so we know that they're deep into investigating Colonial's actions. One major issue for a civil action like this, a tort as it is called, is when did the leak begin? And I am incredibly disappointed to report that Colonial was still unable to tell us. Take a listen.
We essentially were able to ascertain from that how the product was leaking.
Yeah. So you think it was just days?
Days or weeks.
How many weeks?
We don't have a definitive number of weeks.
So, Brian, in a court of law, the difference between 7 weeks and 7 days is a world. So if you want more awkward exchanges like you heard there, make sure everyone tune in tonight at 6 o'clock, Brian.
You got it, Seema. And of course, a lot of people want to know exactly what happened, when it happened, and also the state officials. They are looking into things as well as federal. Is DEQ fined Colonial yet?
Not yet, and I did exchange some emails and text messages with the DEQ representative. They are telling us they are still investigating and will take appropriate action if the time presents itself. Brian?
All right, certainly a developing story as we stay on it here. Seema Iyer live in Huntersville at the Colonial gas pipeline spill.